Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not just looking at a science question. No, we're putting a real GCSE exam question right under the microscope. The mission is to completely decode the mark scheme and show you exactly how to lock down every single one of those marks.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to break down question 05 piece by piece. We'll look at what a perfect answer looks like, according to the official mark scheme. And then we'll zoom out and look at the big picture strategies that you can apply to pretty much any exam question. So, we're diving into the official AQA GCSE Chemistry higher tier paper from June 2022, and we are laser focused on just one thing, question 05, which is all about the chemistry of water.
Okay, so here it is. This is our case study, a big 12-mark question that covers a whole range of stuff. Honestly, it's the perfect chance to get inside an examiner's head. If you can crack the logic of how this is marked, well, you're on your way to scoring all 12 of those marks.
All right, let's jump into the first part and see how this thing builds. We're kicking off with a big one, a 4-mark question asking you to describe a whole process.
The question asks you to describe how sewage is treated to remove organic matter. Now, 4 marks, that is a huge clue. The key word here is describe. That's not just a suggestion. It means they are expecting a clear sequence of steps. No waffle, just the process.
So how would you go about this? I mean, really, take a second. What are the key stages you'd have to list to walk that examiner through the process and make sure you get all 4 marks?
And there it is, the perfect answer, laid out step by step. The mark scheme is super clear. 1 mark for each of these 4 stages. So you've got screening first, to get the big stuff out. Then sedimentation, where the solids sink. Third, you've got anaerobic digestion for that solid sludge. And finally, number 4, aerobic treatment for the liquid that's left over. You see, every single step counts. Okay, next up, we're switching gears from a big process to some really specific questions about ions in water. So this one uses a table that was on the actual exam paper. It's a classic data interpretation question, and it's all about desalination, the process of getting the salt out of seawater. And here's the correct answer. The key is to spot the pair that shows a massive drop in ion concentration, but, and this is crucial, it's not totally gone. This is exactly how desalination works in the real world. It makes the water drinkable, but it doesn't make it chemically 100% pure water. All right, now for a 2-marker. The question is asking why just filtering water doesn't get rid of sodium and chloride ions. That word why is screaming at you. You need to provide a reason, not just a description. Okay, mark number 1, it's for stating the obvious, but it's an essential first step. The ions simply pass through the filter. The mark scheme is pretty flexible here. You could also say they aren't trapped or removed.
And here's the second mark, the all-important why. Why do they pass through? Well, it's because they are dissolved in the water. They're in solution. The mark scheme also lets you say they're just too small to be caught. The point is, you have to connect the what, they pass through, with the why, because they're dissolved. You need both for the full 2 marks.
Okay, let's keep going. This next bit moves us on to sterilization, and this interesting idea of what the word pure actually means, because it's different in a shop than it is in a lab.
Here we go, another 2-mark explain question. This time it's about why groundwater, even after you've filtered it, still needs another treatment, like adding ozone or hitting it with UV light. Why is that step so important? So to nail both marks, the examiners want you to link the problem to the solution. It's a 2-step thought process. First, what's the problem? The water has harmful microbes in it. Second, what does the process do? It sterilizes the water, or it kills those microbes. Problem solution. Boom, 2 marks. This is a really clever 1-mark question. From the data, we already know the water isn't chemically pure, right? It's got ions in it. So this question is really testing if you understand that words can have different meanings in science versus, say, on a bottle of water. Now, check this out. What's so interesting is just how many different answers the mark scheme accepts here. Pure could mean unadulterated, or that it's in its natural state. You could even say nothing has been added, or that it just contains no microbes. All of these get you the mark because they all get at that idea of the water being safe and natural, not necessarily H2O and nothing else. All right, for the last part of this question, we're looking at a standard chemical test. This is one of those things you just have to know, plain and simple, a straight-up recall question. Now, look closely at how it's phrased. Describe the test
and give the result. Those are two separate commands. That's your signal that you need to give two separate pieces of information to get the 2 marks. The mark scheme is super specific on this one. First mark, you have to say damp litmus paper. Second mark, you say the paper is bleached or turns white. But, and this is a really important detail, you cannot get that second mark for the result if you got the first part about the test wrong. They're linked. Oh, and a little pro tip. The paper might turn red first, but the word they're looking for, the money word, is bleached.
Phew, okay. We've gone through the entire question part by part. Now let's zoom out and think about what this one 12-mark question really teaches us about good exam technique, about how to think like an examiner. So, here are the big lessons to take with you. First, be precise. Use the right scientific words, like screening or bleached. Second, know your definitions, like the different meanings of pure. Third, watch out for those dependent marks, like we saw with the chlorine test. You also have to read the whole question to get all the context. And finally, remember that often there's more than one right way to say something. The mark scheme can be flexible. And that wraps up our explainer. But look, the real goal here wasn't just to learn the answers to question 05. It's about learning how to break a question down. So the real question is, how are you going to take this kind of forensic approach, this examiner's mindset, and apply it to the next question you tackle?